So you want to be a Scrum Master, or you're already a Scrum Master and would like to get a certification? Why not start with a Certified Scrum Master? The CSM certification is the starting point, the first entry, the entry-level certification for Scrum Masters, and it's super easy to pass if you follow the tips I'm about to share. In this video, I'm going to focus on the Certified Scrum Master certification, not the PSM1. That's another certification for Scrum Masters. You can watch this video right here for more details on how to pass it. The CSM, I got it on my first try. First try, 100%. And I guarantee that if you follow the tips I'm about to share with you in this video, you're also gonna get 100% in under 24 hours. Enough rambling, let's dive in. Tip number 1, understanding how the certification works. Unlike the PSM1, the other certification for Scrum Masters, where you can just pay $150 and get certified. You take the exam, you get certified. $150, you can do it in 1 hour. For the CSM, you need to take a 2-day course. Can't do anything about it. You need to take the course, then you do the exam. So the course, you have 2 options. Face-to-face, like in person, and online. I highly recommend that you get the online course. The online course is 14 hours. The face-to-face course is 16 hours. The online version of the course is quite flexible. It depends on the instructor. Yeah, you'll need to pick an instructor, and I highly recommend that you pick an instructor with tons of positive reviews, obviously. So the online version, quite a few options. You can do the course during 2 days, 8 hours per day. Maybe you can do it on 4 days, 4 hours per day. Really depends on the instructor. I see some online instructors charging $500 for the online course, and the face-to-face up to $2,000. So I highly recommend that you go online. You get 2 attempts to take the exam over a period of 90 days. This course, the price that you pay for the course already includes these 2 attempts, also includes all the materials from the instructor, a 2-year membership to the Scrum Alliance community, the website that provides this certification. Once you're done with the course and ready to take the exam, you can log in the Scrum Alliance platform and just take the exam. Remember, 2 attempts for free during a period of 90 days. So the exam is quite simple. It's easy compared to a PSM1 exam. 50 questions, multiple choice, a combination of multiple choice questions and true or false questions. 60 minutes, 50 questions. Quite easy. You need 74% pass rate to get your certification, which amounts to 37 good answers out of 50 questions, which is doable. Also, you have 2 attempts, 90 days to pass the exam. If you need a 3rd attempt, you need to pay $25. 4th attempt, $25 again, and subsequently all the other attempts, $25, which is cheap. One thing I don't like about the CSM is that unlike the PSM1 exam, you take the certification, you get your certification, and you're done for life. For the CSM, you need to renew it every 2 years. Every 2 years, you need 20 hours of CSSEU, I think it's called, the Scrum Education. Yeah, Scrum Education Units, the currency sort of a Scrum Alliance. You need to read some materials there. You get some hours, then you can redeem these hours, plus pay $100 every 2 years to renew this thing. It's a bummer. Now that we have the boring stuff out of the way, how do we pass this exam? Tip number 2, read the Scrum Guide. This is mandatory. There's no going without that. You need to read the Scrum Guide, the latest version, the version released in 2020, at least 3 to 4 times. 3 to 4 times. The link is in the description. Don't worry, it's free. I would say that the only thing that you need to pass the CSM exam is the Scrum Guide, at least if you understand it. 14 pages long. Quite an easy read, but hard to understand. So hard to understand that even Scrum Alliance, they don't let you take the exam directly. You need a 2-day course. And the 2-day course will basically explain Scrum. What's in this guide? So if you understand the guide, if you take the course, you should be ready for the exam. I highly recommend that you read the Scrum Guide at least once prior to taking the course. Read it once, 14 pages, but because it's 14 pages, every word really counts. Every word has a meaning. Everything has a purpose in the Scrum Guide. It's really concise. 14 pages. It's hard to understand. Your first read, you will not understand it. High level, maybe you understand it. But once you take the course, assuming that you pay attention during the course with the instructor, once you read the Scrum Guide again, because you need to read it maybe 3 times after taking the course also, with each read, you'll understand something different. And after 3 reads, you'll become a master of the Scrum Guide. You'll know everything in the Scrum Guide. And remember, even when you take the exam, it's an open book. You can have a Scrum Guide and just look at it, if you have time, obviously. Tip number 3, read the Agile Manifesto. Scrum is based on Agile, this Agile mindset, this Agile way of working. It's an easy read, the Agile Manifesto. 4 values, 12 principles, easy read. You just go through it once. I recommend that keeping it handy during the exam. Maybe you can print it and stick it somewhere, or have it on your wallpaper somewhere. You have a 12 principle, 4 values, and you can reference to that during the exam if needed, obviously. Tip number 4, practice. Practice makes perfect. There's quite a few websites giving you mock exams, practice tests that you can do in your free time to ensure that you're ready to take the real thing, the real exam. I linked to a few websites down in the description, but you can still Google search Certified Scrum Master mock exams or practice exams, and you get tons of websites offering you free access to these exams, to these practice and mock exams. And I recommend that you do plenty of them. I did at least, I think I did 4, 5, maybe 6 times these exams prior to taking the real exam, and I was sure that I did at least twice, 100%, prior to taking the final exam. The practice test, unfortunately, is way easier than the real thing, the real exam, which makes sense, but that's why you need to ensure maybe 2 to 3 times, ensure that you get 100%. Once you get 100%, you can take the real thing. And you'll notice also that in the practice test, the mock test, you have similar questions, things that you already know the answer to because you did it in the practice test will come out. The question will come out in the actual exam, which is always good. Tip number 5, follow the best practices when doing multiple choice exams. First thing you need to do when answering a question, when you read the question, read the last sentence first. The last sentence will tell you what you need from this question, and you will be less likely to be tricked by some tricky words in the question. Another tip is to answer the question in your mind prior to reading the answers. You took the course, you read the Scrum Guide. I hope that you read the Scrum Guide. You should be ready for the exam. You should know the answers to these questions. So answer it in your mind. Then you read the answers and you pick one. And please make sure to read all the answers prior to picking one, to ensure that you pick one which is the correct one instead of picking one which is close to be correct to the correct one. You can also eliminate wrong answers first. For example, in Scrum, for time boxing questions, how much time? The daily Scrum, 15 minutes. If you have answers like 1 month, 2 months, you already know it's wrong answers. Eliminate the wrong answers first, then you can pick the correct answer. Be careful of answers with words like all, none, always, never. By never, it means never. If you have a possibility of this thing happening, it's not never. So don't pick it. If you don't know the answer to a question, just skip it. Complete the exam. Obviously, don't submit it. But once you've completed the first run of the exam, go back to answer the questions that you couldn't answer previously. Open the Scrum Guide, open the course, open the Agile Manifesto. You can start reading and start getting the answer, looking for the answer to this question. And once you answered all the questions, go read the exam again, read all the questions, read all your answers, and ensure that you picked the correct answer. There's so many times where I took an exam and I read the question again once the exam was completed. I haven't submitted it yet, but it's completed. I read the question again and I realized that I picked the wrong answer. I shifted my answer. And there's many times why I pass exams because of this. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.